How you doing, everybody? It's February the 28th, 2010, and it's around 8:30 in the evening. Apologies about not making a post yesterday, but I'm a bit busy outside and bit of dry weather, so I've been trying to catch up with doing stuff in the garden, and I didn't get finished until late yesterday. Time I got something to eat and I was a bit banjack, so I didn't make a post. And so anyway, I'll catch up with it over the next few days. Got a lot of things happening and a lot of stuff to comment on. I just want to talk about basically credit restrictions and how it's just manifests itself. One of the things that's happened is just generally inflation. Just one of the things that's happened is home insurance premiums in Ireland have gone up by between 30 and 40%. And they reckon that's going to represent on every home insurance policy, depending on the size of it, obviously. It's going to be around about between 120 and 150 euros minimum. So I'll give you an idea of what we're talking about. And obviously, if you live in a bigger house, it's much more money, and the contents and all that, it's going to be more money. So, but anyway, they reckon it's between 30 and 40% of the overall premium that's on the policy, insurance policy. So, and that's for this year, so we see what happens. The other thing that was mentioned in the article, but these are a series of articles, so I've put them up in the wee links boxes there, and you can have a follow on this, very straightforward. This is Bank of Ireland then, talking about putting up its interest rates on its three main types of the loans that it gives out. These are the personal loans for people, like for small overdrafts and for small business loans and student loans, and they've ramped them up. And a general overdraft now in Bank of Ireland will cost you around 15%, and if you go over your limit, it costs you 22%. So that tells you where they're coming from. Look, we've said it 1,000 times before on these videos. They're going to massive credit constriction, credit that way, inflation that way, interest rates that way. Okay, so that's that in relation to Ireland, and there's loads more to deal with, but I'll deal with it over the next few days. The next thing I want to talk about is a fascinating article from America, and it's to do with the number of banks that are in trouble there. And it is a fascinating article because it gives you an insight. You see, we have this notion that banks can't fail, banks are like, it's like me growing up on the back streets of Belfast. I always believed that banks were part of the state. I always thought that they were like a semi-state outfit, and in Ireland they're going to be very shortly a semi-state outfit, but they're private institutions and they're just licensed money lenders, licensed users. That's all they are. And tells you in this article from the New York Times, tells you that the FDIC, which is the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, is bracing itself for a wave of failures, and it tells you that 702 banks are on their list of problem banks. 702 banks. Now, 140 banks failed last year in 2009, so we don't know what's going to fail this year. So 702 of them are on their problem list. Let's see by the end of the year how many are going to fail. But it just gives you an immediate insight into the problems it faces America and the great republics and a lot of diffs. That's all I can say. Anyway, have a read that. It's a fascinating article. The final thing is really it's just the final from the articles related to newspapers, etc. It's to do with the future, and it shows you basically in Brazil. It's in Rio somewhere, I think it is, in the back streets. It shows you, where is it here? It's called The Gun-Toting Boys from Brazil Who Rule Rio's Corner of Fear. And young lads going around with semi-automatic rifles on motorcycles. And that's what we've got to view. That's what's coming towards us in about 5 years' time, because of the people that run this state. And I'm not going to do it now, but I'm going to give over a complete video to why that's happening and what it's all about. But again, it's just a little insight. It's from the Times, from yesterday's Times Online. It just gives you an insight into what's going on. And as I say, this is just facing Western societies, and it's just down the line. It's just, and especially for failed Western society like the pig societies, like us being part of the pigs, we're going to have to deal with this. We'll already have to deal with it on a smaller scale, like in Limerick and in the inner city in Dublin and all that. But our state has made little or no attempt to resolve that. That could all be resolved within a week. That could all be resolved within, certainly a month. Could be all resolved. And they would have to, well, I don't want to deal with it at all. I'm going to deal with it now. I'll deal with it, as I say, I'll give over a video to deal with it, but it could be dealt with very straightforwardly. And I'll explain to you in the video why it's not been dealt with. But it's a view into the future. It's sort of not too pleasant. The final thing I want to talk about is this is a very, very important week for democracy, world democracy, and some of the commentators that have made comments with my videos, they decry democracy, but I think it was Churchill said it. It's a very fallible system, but it's the best we have, and I think it is. I think it stood the time from when it was first conceptualised in Greece, in Athens, the city-state of Athens, up until now. And I don't think there's any better system really. People put forward notions of better systems. I don't know. As I say, I think it has, like all political systems, it has its flaws, but I'm a massive advocate of it. And I think any attempt to usurp it or to undermine it, I think it leads to fascism or serious dictatorship, and I'm totally opposed to that. I'm a Republican and I'm a Democrat. That's what my fundamental things are. But first comes democracy. First comes democracy all the time. And we're going to see it in action, and it's going to happen on, just to make sure, Saturday the 6th of March. And the small island of Iceland are going to go, and they're going to give their democratic opinion of what they think about the banks and the bailout and the metaphorical gun that's been put to their head. It's not a metaphorical gun, it's a real financial gun that's been put to their head by the international banks. And hopefully they will tell them in an unequivocal manner what to do with their banks, their money and everything else. And okay, it's going to mean lots of difficulties for them. Who said life was going to be easy? I didn't believe life was ever going to be easy. All my life I've struggled like shit to get ahead of the posse. And I hope those people accept that that's what it's going to be if they reject these bankers. But you know what? They'll have a sense of solidarity and they'll overcome all that problems. And at least they'll have their dignity and their sovereignty. Look at the state that Ireland's in. Look at the tell you, I reckon if a big enough dog came and barked at us, we'd roll over as a nation. So I'm looking forward to see how these Icelanders handle this, and I only hope, I just pray that they come up with the right answer to these bankers, and they give them the two fingers and tell them to piss off and get their hands off little Iceland. They did it with the Cod Wars with the British, and let's hope they do the same with these international bankers, because they're going to set a template for the whole of the future. I think a lot of nations, a lot of small nations, are looking to these people and are going to respond in kind as they're going to, they're going to mimic what they see in Iceland. And because this is a very sophisticated society, these people are not stupid. And so we're going to keep a close watch on that as this develops during the week, because there'll be lots of talk and lots of ongoing debate about it in the newspapers. And as I say, we live in exciting times. Anyway, all part of the Icelanders, that's all I want to say.